Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host for this evening, and I bring to you a film that I just saw dealing with the DC Universe, directed by Zack Snyder from 2017, where it is called Justice League. And the film is following the storyline of Batman versus Superman. Obviously, uh, Henry Cavill's character, Superman, has died and has been buried. And from what I understand, Batman, who has been left behind, and the rest of the characters involved, meaning Wonder Woman, which ultimately she went off and had her own standalone film, which I thought was actually really good. It told a little bit of her storyline and whatnot, but I'm not going to get into that one right now. But in the beginning of this film, we see a scene with Wonder Woman where there is a man who goes in with a team of people, and he's about to blow up some kind of a bank. And she swoops in and uses her rope of honesty, which actually it's kind of a whip. It's kind of like in between a rope and a whip. But she uses her weapon of honesty to seek out exactly what is going on in the situation. And the main guy, well, not the main guy, but the guy in charge of this takeover operation, at least in the building that she went into, she was able to overtake and overcome, and she dodged a ton of bullets with her arm bracelets, and ultimately made him wonder who the fuck she was. But I feel like that scene right there was kind of fast paced. I wish I could have seen it in a little bit more of a slower motion. But yeah, obviously they wanted to make it seem like she did these things really quick, was really strong, and I feel like even though we've been introduced to her in Batman uh, versus Superman, and we had seen more of her in Wonder Woman, I feel like some of her action points, at least in this very beginning, were kind of, rushed to find out the storyline. But in any case, Bruce Wayne, he is trying to track down the other uh, superheroes or people with superpowers per se. You got the descendant of the god of the sea, which is Aquaman. You have the Flash. You also have a character called Victor Stone, which his alter ego is Cyborg. And he is acted by Ray Fisher. So we have Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Gal Gadot as a Wonder Woman. That's kind of a weird name, but by the way, Ezra Miller as the Flash, Jason Momoa, and Ray Fisher. We also have Jeremy Irons reprising his role as Alfred. So ultimate, and also we have Diane Lane, and Connie Nelson, a few others. You know, we have quite a little bit of a cast here. So what I'm going to say is that evidently there was um, a mythological uh, ancestor that was unleashed um, on the island that Wonder Woman is from, and the women, the Amazon women, are guarding some kind of a box that holds some kind of energy, and there are three of these all throughout the world. There was one on this island, there was one in the sea in Atlantis, and there was one that was on Earth, and this character Steppenwolf, which was played by Claren Hines. Um, this was a CGI'd character, so I feel like the history of the wars that went on with this character were computerized to quite an extent, and I was fairly disappointed with the CGI, at least in some of this film. I'm not really a fan of CGI in general, but this this totally disappointed me. The way these get, I feel like I've seen characters in the Marvel universe that have been CGI better. So and maybe it might have been budget wise or whatnot, but I feel like uh, they could have been homogenized better. I don't know how to describe it, but Bruce tracks down Aquaman. He tracks him down in his own Nantucket-looking town, uh, and he refuses at first, uh, up until till the box was actually stolen from Atlantis. Is when all of a sudden he showed up. Well, when he went and found the Flash, which he was only found by when he was visiting his father in jail, which his father was in jail for the murder of his mother, supposedly. And we know some of the Flash's storyline from having it be, believe it or not, he was actually in a film in the 70s, so which was right around the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk series. So, but this was his introduction to the story. So I think that his humor, the Flash's humor, which is Ezra Miller's humor, I think he brought a lot to the movie. In fact, he was one of the focal points that made it a little comical, especially when you saw he was kind of like up against Superman and his speed and whatnot. And I like that not all the characters got along with each other, and yet when it really mattered, they really got down to it. Um, so ultimately, Diana was against them using the cube that had created Cyborg or Victor Stone into Cyborg. Um, what he was from the car crash that he had, and his father had found this cube of energy. Um, Diana was against using the cube to uh, basically reboot Superman from being dead. And once they did, there there was a moment where Superman didn't remember who he was, and it wasn't until they brought um, his girl Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams, uh, back into the quay for him. And of course, when it came down to the final battle, uh, Superman, as always, came fashionably late. So I think there was definitely a lot of action. There was definitely some camaraderie going on. There was definitely some humor in the film. It looked like they were having fun with the film after a time, but the film seemed kind of stiff and like they were trying to follow too many guidelines. They were trying to follow too many directions, and the creatures that the Steppenwolf character controlled, they kind of looked like something between bumblebees, fireflies, and flying monkeys. So I kind of felt like, yeah, we were watching the monkeys go after Dorothy and Oz. But in any case, I think I enjoyed the film. I would like to see where else they can take the story. I mean, it is nice that they are finally putting some of these characters in live action films and seeing how they react to each other on the big screen. So, in any case, if you enjoy my description of the film, definitely like and subscribe. I enjoyed the film for what it was trying to portray, and I hope to watch more from this universe, even though I know it's not as strong as the Marvel universe is in this day and age. So hopefully you've enjoyed what I've described, and hopefully you can continue to like what I talk about. In any case, have a good afternoon or evening, and look forward to more reviews.